Growth is the point of life. From simple bacteria to entire human civilizations, all living things on Earth seem to have the same basic strategy. Keep on growing, keep on growing, keep on growing. And a few species manage to do it. Ever seen a 40-pound lobster? That's because these guys never stop growing till they die. But for the most part, including human societies, the ever-growing logic doesn't really seem to work. Take the Roman Empire. Started up with 2 babies and a wolf, ended up ruling the entire Mediterranean. Their business model was pretty simple. Go somewhere, whoop some asses, but make them Roman citizens after. And then start collecting taxes. Gold, silver, grain, bring all that stuff back to Rome. But there's something else. To achieve economic growth, one of the keys is the access to cheap labor. The Industrial Revolution provided a great solution to this problem with machines. A workforce that can be bought instead of rented, which is way more profitable. They called it capital, and humanity started a brand new game with a simple rule. The more capital you own, the wealthier you are. But nothing is new except what has been forgotten, and the new game was actually an old game. The ancient world already had a large workforce treated as capital. Slaves. They were the robots of the ancient world. The word robot, by the way, actually comes from the Czech word robota, which means forced labor. And precisely all the prisoners of war seized during the continuous Roman warfare provided an enormous supply of slaves for Rome. Guess what happened? Capitalism took over 2000 years before the word was even invented. The rich patricians bought as many slaves and land as they could, and the entire Roman food supply was soon left to enormous plantations, run by slaves and owned by aristocrats. This pushed most of Roman farmers out of work. Small tradesmen and craftsmen were also replaced by slaves and joined the ranks of the enormous crowd of unemployed Roman citizens. The slave population in Italy more than tripled over 200 years to reach 30% of the total at the beginning of the empire. In the city of Rome, approximately 300,000 slaves were brought, and they took most of the jobs of the 500 Roman citizens, leaving a good half of them unemployed. It's hard not to draw a parallel with today's situation and robots replacing humans in all sorts of jobs. Anyway, Rome was growing fast, at the expense of both the conquered territories and its own citizens. So the growth model contained in itself the seeds of decay. Rome was dealing with a large-scale structural change that had benefited a small elite and left a large amount of the population out of work. Now put yourself in the emperor's shoes for a second. They had to fight the Germans and whatever other tribes abroad, and to take care of slave revolts at home. Now they also had to worry about citizen revolt just because they've got no jobs. I don't need this, just get them some free food, see if they chill. And just like so, in the 2nd century AD, some 200,000 citizens of Rome received a free daily ration of grain, called the dole. And it's not enough just to feed people if they have no purpose in life. You must also entertain them. In the 2nd century AD, there were 159 holidays on the Roman calendar, and on every possible occasion, huge games were thrown, with lots of racing and killing, and sometimes even ship battles. But these shows blew incredible amounts of money. Under Claudius, the average cost of a game was around 800,000 sesterces. The average annual salary at the time was around 400 sesterces. So games cost the equivalent of 2,000 years of work for average people. To draw a quick comparison, an NBA game would be worth only 24 years of an average US worker. The wealth acquired by the charioteers gives an even better idea of the magnitude of games in Rome. In 150 AD, Gaius the Lamechus Diocles had amassed 35 million sesterces, or the equivalent of 92,000 years of work of an average person. By comparison, LeBron James' net worth represents 24,000 years of work of an average US worker. Rapid growth is generally based on the access to profitable capital. If this is controlled by a few oligarchs, the growth isn't evenly shared and contains in itself the seeds of decay. The only solution the Roman emperors found at the time was to subsidize a comfortable lifestyle for its large population of unemployed citizens. So today, when we hear all the billionaires of the tech industry, the ones who are designing the robots that will take our jobs in the near future, advocate for universal basic income, there's a slight feeling of déjà vu.